Hello and welcome back to Season 5 of Edo Hell's GitGud tournament, where we will now be watching the console tournament in NA evolve between Levers and Trash Ascending on PS4. I will be your play-by-play caster, Belly, and with me on the color seat is Zoc Hamwell to join me for the cast for this evening. And we should have a very interesting match on our hands if the previous match, at the very least, is anything to go by. But hoping indeed for a close one, just the same as that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that there's some big shoes to fill after that first match we had between Valor Prestige and UDG Gaming. Vendetta. Sorry, that's a long name. I stumbled through it, but big shoes to fill. And honestly, I'm just excited for a great match. This is my first time casting in the PlayStation realm. So I'm looking to see if there's any sort of meta differences between the console and PC formats that I'm familiar with. Basically, there's different consoles present different things, different, medias for playing the content. They present different sort of avenues. So I'm excited to see, what differences are in the PlayStation scene and I'm looking to see these players make a name for themselves because I'm brand new to their world.
I mean, this is my second time casting console, the first time being about 2 hours ago.
There
Or
we
at the
go.
very least, starting 2 hours ago. So,
True.
it's all new to me at the very least for console. So I wonder whether there's indeed going to be a change. It is going to be Nepal as our control map, which at the very least we know that the levers, that is their favorite map according to the information that they've given us. On the other side, for Trash Ascending, they prefer Lijiang Tower, so maybe a bit more closed off. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams are going to deal with Nepal as their first map.
Absolutely. And, looking at levers, with their favorite map being Nepal, I see, Ray, one of their off tank players, really liking the Roadhog. That's something I feel like we could see hypothetically on these control maps. I think Roadhog has some cool niches, especially punishing bad positioning. That's something that Roadhogs with their hooks can do very well. So it might be, especially on this first map, control. Both these teams trying to get a feel of each other, get the vibe. That could be a good pick. Starting out, assess for any kind of weak links in the chain, as it were, coming out from Trash Ascending. It's funny, we've got two real negatively connotated names in Trash Ascending and Levers. It's like, come on, have some self confidence.
I mean, I would at the very least give it to Trash Ascending, who are at the very least ascending
Yes,
from
they started
Trash
in
Hood.
trash, but they're improving. So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
that's actually commendable. You're right. I need to put a more positive spin on things.
And the levers are just leaving all of the losses behind and
Hmm.
getting the victories in the end. So we're gonna keep it all positive, and we're gonna see how these games are gonna turn out. On Nepal, it's gonna be village first, a very enclosed capture point, but a very nice ground around to be able to get a fight in. And I'm interested to see what heroes are gonna be coming out to play.
Yes, it is going to be interesting. Yeah, it looks like we might be seeing some Roadhog. I like seeing that brawl coming out from Magical Fish Hook and Jam Soda there on the side of Trash Ascending. I think that provides a lot of value. Surprised we're not seeing a May. We will have Symmetras on both sides. That will allow for that quick sort of point presence. And it's really just going to be a question of, can the Bastion or the Genji get more value for the respective teams? Because that's one of the noticeable differences there, DPS wise.
Okay, Teleporter comes out early for Trash, descending a bit later for Levers, but both of the teams find each other at the point at approximately the same time. A lot of hammer swings coming on through, and Trash Ascending are just kind of forcing their way onto point. Bastion set up just over to the side, but now trying to find this angle to be able to keep pumping out damage is going to be difficult. Hands over till gets a nice dash in, picks up Leville. That is going to be one early pick, and the Symmetra already down, so even if you manage to make it to the point, it's going to be difficult to really bunker up. Golden Boss dropping extremely low, Magical Fishhook dropping even lower. That's a nice opening pick here to try and bring it back. Shatter already comes down, Coalescence gets added as well, the counter Shatter puts the rest of the levers on the floor. Immortality Field is there, and Robinson gets a nice pulse bomb kill onto Golden Boss, and with all that healing gone, it's going to be Trash Ascending holding on to the point.
And that was just excellent control demonstrating there by Trash Ascending. You know, they get to the point, they establish their presence early. Great job by Cam K Mom and Jam Soda, you know, combining, providing a nice strong front that the rest of Trash Ascending could play around. And now, looking forward, you know, that Genji Blade coming online, you know, the Dragon Blade online, you do have the ability to pocket that a little bit, maybe using the Amplification Matrix coming out from Ooga Booga. Pulse Bomb not far behind along with that Earth Shatter. There's some big ults coming online that are going to allow Trash Ascending to control this point and control the tempo of this fight.
Tank mode is up, but Amplification Matrix gets used first. A nice hook, however, onto and Robinson to take the Tracer out of the fight. This is where the blade comes in, however, so much damage coming on out against the Genji, so that will be denied. The Shatter puts everyone on the floor. That will be one kill. That will be a second. Though the Bastion sets up, trades it out for 3 more. The Coalescence for the massive turret, the massive Gatling gun to retake this point after 81% of capture for Trash Ascending.
And that was just fantastic way to counter ults and ultimately take advantage of things. And the best part is now you've got a significant ult advantage coming online for you if you are the levers. You know, you've got that tank configuration. You can pair that with a photon barrier coming out from Symmetra and really just get some free sort of angles and free shots with protection and really allow your Rhine to open up, ultimately, you know, maybe do something with the Shatter. It remains to be seen.
What's going to be able to open it up is indeed that Graviton Surge, so there's no real follow-up. Does pull out the wall, but the Shatter once again hitting 4 people, and there is just too much damage for Trash Ascending to deal with. Levers will keep holding on to Village for now.
And honestly, this sort of DPS lineup coming out for levers right now with that Bastion, it's very cocky. Like, the Bastion could be easily countered and easily fought off here, but just prowess and great team coordination is really allowing value from that. Still can tank configuration online, but meanwhile, you know, there are some ults coming online on the side of Trash Ascending that could allow them to kind of swing this fight. Pulse Bomb, you know, does have the ability in certain scenarios to take out Bastion again. You know, that rally could be everything needed to kind of help tank up against the Bastion's DPS ability. Really not much coming from the tank configuration, but, you know, it's holding point and progress is continuing to be gained. So ultimately, you know, you are buying time, whatever that's worth.
Sans Overkill barely making it back to the rest of the team. Gets healed up ever so slightly. Rally gets used. That extra bit of armor is definitely going to help. However, with the whole Hawk and the Bastion still available, that's still so much damage potential coming on out. Shatter lands with 3 on the floor. The Fire Strike to clean it all up. We're gonna have to get the Bastion off the floor. The Coalescence is going to make this ever so slightly more difficult. The Sans Overkill just gets denied that Echo duplicate. Still have a Moira on the point, just trying to stay alive, but it will be Trash Ascending, pulling it back at the brink of defeat, 99 to 85, and we're heading into last fight territory.
And there are that Amplification Matrix really being the main difference maker ult. I mean, in Robinson, getting that Pulse Bomb back online could be huge, but that Amplification Matrix is going to be the healing needed to allow levers to get back onto this point if they're going to.
Amplification Matrix comes down, and so does the Earth Shatter. Once again, Trash Ascending gets dropped to the floor of the point. Levers getting all the kills that they need. Trash Ascending, or Levers getting indeed all the kills that they need. Trash Ascending losing the point. Levers picking up their first capture.
Excellent. That was an excellent retake. They played it patiently. They used the Amplification Matrix. They played well off the Shatter. I mean, everything just came together very nicely there to allow that point take to come out there for levers. And honestly, just a well-fought round, but very evenly matched. I mean, we saw Sans Overtell in Robinson, a lot of value coming out from that DPS line. Jam Soda and Cam K Mom, when they were on that Rhine Brig together, that was some great synergy coming out there. So I think we could definitely see a 2-1 scoreline here for this map one, and a very close series throughout.
Gonna be waiting out indeed what these teams will be bringing, but if that first round is anything to go off, this could very much be a close round. Sandstorm Till back on the Genji and Robinson off the Tracer going for the Sombra pick. And we're also seeing a distinct lack of Bastion coming on out. The Jaws though on the legs, locking those in. JC however with an early pick onto Jabba Soda. One main tank gone means a lot of shielding negated, and this is going to be the levers picking up the point early. At the very least, stand on the point. It's one important part. They do push a bit, out a bit forward, and with that, you do get a few trades. Golden Boss, the main healing output for the levers gets taken out, so Trash Ascending will pick the point up for the run.
What a reversal of fortune there. I mean, that looked to be firmly in the hands of levers to go ahead and take progress early, but Trash Ascending doing a great job. Really, getting a slight bit of building in the ultimates, but this will be a dry run for both teams here. Shatter definitely an advantage going to levers and General Weiser on that side, and that could be a difference maker here in the tail end of this fight.
Already 80% does have the Discord Orb, is very locked on top of him. Cam came on, gets taken out by a flanking soldier. The Levers looking to pull this back. Both of the supports gone. The Shatter does not land. However, that does not matter. The Levers have picked up all the kills that they need to flip the point around.
I think we saw a prime example of aim assist coming into play there on that Shatter. You watched the drag as it followed the Reinhardt back behind cover. Just something interesting to note out, a little bit of a console difference between that and PC. But meanwhile, progress flipped over for levers right now. That's going to allow this Roadhog to get set up in a very interesting position to possibly get some environmental kills. Coalescence, I imagine it's going to be used kind of midway through the fight to sustain things. But Ooga Booga and that amplification matrix, you could start the fight off early and really get a ton of value.
The amplification matrix comes on down, a lot of damage potential coming out, but the levers doing very good at rotating to this little cubby that is behind the point. And Sentence also gets invested to give that extra bit of pushing power. EMP as well. This is a lot of ultimates to just get this point back. As the blade comes on out finally, I'll be Trash Ascending and pulling this point back in their favor.
Well, thankfully they were able to take the point there because they used pretty much they used everything just to get it. They will have the Graviton Flux coming online. That is a great defensive ult if coordinated properly, but you're looking at a wall of ultimates coming out on the side of levers. I mean, it's easier to say what they don't have, which soon won't be anything. They've got all ults almost online.
Lessons comes out, but it's not enough to keep General Weiser up and alive. Just finds a one trade, however, Trash Ascending is still in the lead, still for 5v4 in favor of the team in red. As then Robinson picks up another kill here. The hacks as well attempted to come on through, a nice hook, but the translocate will come on in. Trash Ascending up to 80% on the point capture.
That was an unlucky reload for Ray. Had the Sombra dead to rights and just lets us away. But I mean, great job taking this point. I mean, not a lot of ults use on the side of levers. They still have a good bit of it online. They do make the switch to Ana, so they're starting fresh there. But I mean, this has just been a great kind of stall with very little to work with in their favor.
General Weiser putting down the slam, but is gonna just take themselves out as well. An EMP to just deny Johnny Jaws and finds JC as well. And that, not that much, so that is not the highest value EMP. Unfortunately, however, doesn't seem like that the red team needs it. Trash Ascending putting down one more Shatter, picking up all of the kills. It's now staggered picks for General Weiser. Getting hacked out means that he really cannot go anywhere. Overtime Rick starts burning down. One Roadhog still on point, also gets hacked out. You're not going to be able to heal, you're not going to be able to whole hog. That would be Trash Ascending, picking up the second round here in Nepal.
Robinson very quietly had a great round on the Sombra, getting a ton of value, getting the hacks when they needed. The EMPs hit or miss, but that's a trend we've been seeing all night. Honestly, the EMPs, great awareness coming out from any team so far tonight that's played against the Sombra, because the EMPs have been, very minimally damaging. So that's interesting to see. What's even more interesting to see is Johnny Jaws back on the Bastion. It did work out very well for them on the first point of this map. So, maybe a little resurgence back to it.
very potentially possible. Setting up that bunker on point could be very positive for the levers to try and pull this point back. Crash Ascending once again still indeed on the Genji, and Robinson back on the Tracer. JC already dropping quite low. A nice bash here on the Reinhardt, but the Bastion has been set up. The Gatling gun is firing. Both of these teams are battling out at the middle of the point, though the brig fight gets won by Golden Boss. Sands Overkill in the backline, finds Luilo. The Hanzo now also taking out a lot of burst damage already gone. However, you still have the Bastion to be able to pump out even extra burst damage. Crash Ascending though, picking up all of the kills, not really caring about this Bastion. And it's even Red starting to pick up this point early.
Yeah, and to me, a big difference maker there was Ooga Booga on the Baptiste. I mean, you see now the ultimate already coming online. You've got Earthshatter as well. But great immortality field usage, really allowing to finish off the kill on Johnny Jaws. And now, you know, you're looking at a good ult advantage, and they're fighting uphill to try and come into you on this point.
Especially still holding onto this Bastion, you kind of need that one set up to really get the value for it, but you've got Sans Overkill also with the upgraded Genji after that patch. It's gonna be the Mortality field, but Sans Overkill picks up the Brigitte, try to get a bit of extra damage done. Willow finds a trade on the Tracer, however, Crash Ascending has picked up all of the kills that they need. The Lever's not really that many tools at the ready to try and take this back.
No, they really don't. They're kind of having to just wait and play it safe. You know, you do have the tank configuration here soon, but I mean, you've got Shatter, you've got Grav, Pulse Bomb. I mean, it's very close. And the way Ooga Booga's been farming that amplification matrix, they'll have it by the next fight. You know, before this fight even starts. In fact, it's really going to fall to Johnny Jaws. I think a lot of value needs to be gotten from this tank configuration here. Otherwise, you begin to question the justification of even running it.
It's gonna be a tank fight indeed. However, with the Graviton Surge, it's gonna be a Pulse Bomb onto Ray. Tank mode comes out as well. Johnny Jaws manages to only find the one, as Ed Robinson's trying to just get into the background. Transcendence comes out along with the amplification matrix. Willow manages to build up the dragon. It's a question whether that will be invested as well. We're heading into last fight territory, but Levers are starting to pick up a few kills of their own. Both of the supports are gone, so there's no real staying power left for Crash Ascending. However, the Shatter picks up everyone. Is there enough damage to come through? Graviton Surge on point. Ray picks up 2 kills. Will this be the turnaround for the Levers to pull this one on back? There's going to be a bit of a stagger for Ed Robinson to try and get this fight, as Crash Ascending attempted to get back to point, but are now going to be forced back to spawn by way of a minigun.
Wow, what a great retest. I mean, it was a huge shatter that came out from Jam Soda, and it was like it didn't even matter. But now you've set up Levers in a excellent opportunity to really control here. You've got, you know, you didn't use dragons in the grab. You still have that waiting for you. You've got the rally to try and fortify this Bastion, who's already back to a tank configuration. So it's like the reverse caster curse. I was saying the value needed to be justified here soon, and now, you know, super quick ult farming, great value, and control of the point. I mean, a lot going for Johnny Jaws on the Bastion right now.
Speaking of control, there's going to be a dragon splitting off the attacking team, the team in red. With the Pulse Bomb, that's Johnny Jaws out, so a lot of burst damage gone. But that doesn't seem to matter. Lever's still picking up all of the kills, especially here with this rally coming on through. Crash Ascending didn't really have that much in their tool belt to be able to really retake this fight, so there's not too much lost for the team in red.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you're still in great position. You're at 99%. You've had pretty much a dry run. You've got M. Robinson using the Pulse Bomb, but ultimately switching to Junkrat, which I think gives way more value against this comp that we're seeing. Although Ray will have a field day with that. But you're building ults. Ults are being used just to hold this point. And now Crash Ascending look to be able to turn the tide, that pick aside.
We've seen before how strong these Hanzos can be in these matchups. Once again, that early pick. Crash Ascending taking the slow route, realizing that you're heading into this last fight territory, but with a lot of tools at the ready, a lot of ultimates at the ready to retake this fight. Start moving in. That will be indeed a grab. That will be a blade. This is one classic for the books. So Graveblade to finish it on out. The Shatter as well finds the Zarya, and even with the bubble, it's going to be difficult to really try and stay alive. Sands Overkill with 5 HP left still manages to get the kill. Trash Ascending managing to bring that point back in their favor. Overtime burns down, and that would be Nepal going in favor of Trash Ascending.
Trash Ascending did a great job there, just staggering out their ults and playing that very patiently. And at the end of the day, they get the victory 100% for it. Just overall better patience, better ult economy, and that's what wins you the maps, and that's what wins you the games.
Absolutely, though, one thing that we always like to mention, those first control maps are the maps where you kind of have the warm-up. For one, it is their first game against each other, and you can scrim however much you want. It's never going to be the same as a tournament. So there's
So
the
true.
warm-up map, and so getting a bit of the rust off. And as I mentioned in the earlier matchup, you've got static versus dynamic points, and we're now going over to dynamic objectives. Payload maps, hybrid maps, we're going to be going through those where just the way that you play around the map changes entirely. There's not just the one point that you set up to, there's not just the one approach that you've got. No, there's changes continuously, which means that this changes the thought process. So this could be where the levers then start turning it around. And we've seen this before, and it can happen again.
It's very true. Yes, and the levers they had some good synergy coming out. I like to say control maps really do they lend themselves more to the individual skills of the players. That definitely gives you more of an inherent advantage on control points versus other map types. So here we're going to see coaching and strategizing probably take more center stage, and I really think that could uh, lead to sort of any differences in what we've seen so far after map one. So that's going to be interesting to see is ultimately which team is better coached, who's got the better strategies, because that becomes far more important going forward in this series.
That's definitely the case. That's going to be the question as well of what we will be seeing next. We don't know yet. We are still waiting for the lobby, though. If I'm going to grab the rule book, it should be an escort map. If I'm going to be seeing what these teams enjoy playing. On one side, I'm seeing Rialto. On the side of Trash Ascending. On the side of the Levers, I'm seeing Watchpoint
Watch point.
Gibraltar, which means I'm gonna have to disappoint them as that one is not in the map pool. So
Aw.
we're not gonna be seeing that map coming on out at the very least. Though it was Trash sending a one, so levers will be able to choose. So it's gonna be question what that choice is gonna be.
Just trying to infer a little bit from the watch point pick for their escort map. Watchpoint is a map that a lot of times, especially that I've noticed on console, dive can be ran there very successfully, and it just makes me wonder if levers maybe less of a brawl comp team, more of a dive comp team. We did actually just get word that the next map will be Rialto. Kind of possible to run dive there, but it makes me wonder. I mean, was this just a sort of style mismatch coming into this control match? And as the map types expand, is that going to open up more into the style of levers and ultimately maybe play into their hands? It's very interesting what we can infer by these teams' favorite maps.
I mean, that is a very much yeah, a potential result. Trash Ascending has given up that they do that their favorite map at the very least is Rialto. And Levers indeed with a map that is not in the map pool is going to make this very difficult. So we don't necessarily know of those three maps which would be their favorite. So while they've chosen it, also means that Trash Ascending seems to be very comfortable in this, though naturally we're going to have to wait out whether that is the case as soon as we get into the next map.
That's very true. And I wish I had more reference, on the style of these players, but it is my first foray into PlayStation, and I'm uh, basically just going off of what I saw on map one, and I think for Trash Ascending, you've got In Robinson on the DPS getting a ton of value. I'm interested if Sans Overtail is typically a primary Genji player, or if that was more just in sort of countering Johnny Jaws on the Bastion. I'll be interested to see what their strategy kind of dictates. What was interesting is they came out on on Genji I'm pretty sure every round, and ultimately did switch off. But it just I keep thinking about it, and I'm just wondering, if dive is on the table here because I would love to see it, and we haven't seen really feel like we haven't seen much dive today. So I'd
I
love
mean,
it if we saw a bit of a dive battle between these two teams.
if the team sheets are anything to go by, it is indeed Sans Overtail who has noted down that the most played hero for their team are Genji, Ashe, and Hanzo.
Hmm.
Genji being the first. Though what I then see is Magical Fishhook, who's got Zarya Diva, Orisa, Sigma as their primary heroes, and for Njama Soda is Reinhardt Roadhog. There is no Hammond or Winston in that lineup, so that would make a dive pretty difficult to keep running. And Rialto
Those
as
two are
well
pretty
is going to be there.
instrumental to dive. It's true.
Those are quite instrumental to get some form of dive going. We unfortunately cannot do Reinhardt dive, even though that would make me happy. But that is
Respect.
indeed not a thing that could happen. We've also taken out the brick dive with that tech now not available anymore for a while now. So
That's
I
true.
don't really expect that one to come on out, but I'm expecting more Brawly type stuff and maybe that Far Mercy to come on in again.
The pharmacy, especially given its utility, as we discussed earlier in our first series on Rialto, you've got those alleyways, you've got all kinds of different sort of flanks and surprise angles you can take. So ultimately, I mean, that's something I think we could see, in the woodwork, so to speak. But I'm expecting a healthy dose of double shield in some way, shape, or form, whether that be the Ryan Orisa. I've seen Ryan Sigma a lot lately, so I mean, I sense a couple of those coming out your way. I think you're right, even if we do see it more brawly with the Ryan Sigma. But I love a good Zarya play, so maybe we'll get lucky.
Absolutely. It's going to be Trash Descending who are going to be attacking first the levers on the defense. Um, this is going to be this beautiful sunny map here in Italy that we get to see. Where the levers are going to be setting up their defense indeed. And I'm seeing Johnny Jaws once again back to the Bastion.
Hmm, that is interesting. So we've seen a lot of Bastion play coming out, and I often see Bastion as a bit of a, I call it almost like Bastion comps are a bit of a gatekeeping comp, where what Bastion really challenges is your ability to play comps the way they're supposed to be played correctly. Because, Bastion's very easily countered. However, if you don't play smart and you don't play your comps correctly, he can become an absolute nightmare. So, in that sense, I see Bastion as a gatekeeping comp, and it's really going to test if if levers know the comp they're running and can play it to a high degree of technicality.
Oh, levers indeed. Actually going for the Widow, and then Robinson with a quick little dink there is gonna take out the Ashe. Sans Overtail though gets a bit too far ahead. It's a bit too big for their bridges, and the Bastion is gonna be able to relocate, not getting taken out just yet. And Robinson has also swapped over from the Widow to the Ashe, but once again this hook from the Roadhog of Ray able to get a lot of value here, getting those two early picks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sans Overtail a little too aggressive on the Echo, has switched over to the Genji. That kind of is compromising a little bit of the ult economy on the side of levers. Meanwhile, Trash Ascending, you're working your way up to that application matrix, both support ults, in fact. I mean, that nano could really allow your Reinhardt to get back into this ult fight to compare with Jam Soda, who's almost at Earthshatter.
As the attack comes on forward, that's going to be a nano actually onto General Weiser, being able to just create so much space, being able to just kind of go forward. Shatter comes down, doesn't find anything. Transcendence is going to keep everyone alive, but it's going to be allow Jamasoda to put everyone from the levers on the floor. The Bastions is going to get charged down. 3 kills for the Reinhardt, the rest for the rest of the team, and that will be Trash Ascending moving on forward.
And man, the second Shatter is what really played it off there. Props to Jam Soda, just some excellent Reinhardt play coming out. Shattering, knowing that the nano was there and that Ryan was going to be playing very aggressive. And now that sets you up. You're close to your Dragon Blade. You've got Amplification Matrix coming online for the enemy team, so that's going to possibly get this contested.
And Robinson with 2 quick picks here. General Weiser does get a trade out. General Weiser, as I say that, gets a couple more trades. Some nice fire strikes here from the Reinhardt to bring this back for the defense. Jamasoda is going to have a hefty job to even trying to get out alive. Does manage to get to the mini. Is going to be able to get back to the team for the regroup.
That was an excellent contest coming out, and really on the back of Golden Boss's Amplification Matrix. Though, if you are on the side of levers, you've got a good few ults coming online here. You've got the Dragon Blade still waiting for you. You could hypothetically pair that with a supercharger if you can get your Orisa into position to benefit the Genji there. But I really think that these might be two standalone ults, and that the Earth Shatter coming online from Jam Soda could be the difference maker here in this next fight.
Gonna be the supercharger coming in early, but it's gonna be a nice hook that I just spotted on the Orisa. However, the backup is there. 2 kills already gotten for Trash Ascending off the back of that one supercharger. Now the blade comes on out from Sans Overkill, finds one, is looking for that second, and it gets all the value that they need. That will be the payload moving on forward. 3.5 minutes on the clock for Trash Ascending to get to the next checkpoint.
Genji in 2020, imagine. But finding a ton of value is Sans Overkill, so you really do love to see it. And defensively, I think that was a pretty good defensive hold. I mean, obviously, that is an area where you can really see the full hold. But you give it up. You're not giving up too much in the way of ults. Ults economy-wise, you're still sitting in a good place. And yeah, it's looking good now for the defense coming out from levers.
Defense indeed looking strong, looking nice. It's gonna be an amplification matrix getting put in early, but the Bob now in the backline actually gets hooked away. That amplification matrix doing a lot of damage here to take the Bob out. Shatter drops, only gets the Roadhog, so that's not gonna be enough that you need. But Ray, once again, with these hooks, he just does not seem to be missing any of them, and continues to get value for it.
I really love the lineup that levers are running. Like, they're marching to the beat of their own drum. You're running a Reinhardt Hog tank line. You're running a Bastion, pretty much full time. I mean, it's paying off for them. They're getting some good stops on defense. That is going to put a bit of a wrinkle into that, though.
Losing one of your 2 supports is definitely going to make this fight extra difficult, as the damage comes on through. Johnny Jaws and General Weiser have dropped. And without all of the damage or shielding, that is indeed the rest of the levers who are still alive, trying to just get back out with their life.
Yeah, with JC going down there, that was pretty much like blood in the water if you're the side of Trash Ascending, and they cleaned up adequately and managed to get a few more ults closer online. Huge shatter from Weiser.
That is one big one of them. The shatter putting Trash Ascending down with the Bob and the tank mode as well. That is a fair bit of investment. However, with less than a meter to go, that will indeed be the defense holding.
Yeah, I would take that, that ult trade to get that stop there any day. You're going to be holding them to under a minute, even if they do manage to take it. You're just further whittling down that time bank. Meanwhile, you've got amplification matrix almost online. That's going to provide a lot of healing. It can allow Ray to play more aggressively on the Roadhog. They do have a lot of ults they have to watch out for. That trans from Cam K Mom could really be the difference maker. That being the only healing ult on the field right now, that could push Trash Ascending over the edge and allow him to kind of take this second point here. I like their positioning too. This is crafty.
Now putting that supercharger down, you also have the blade that could be amplified in damage. The Sans Overkill taking a lot of damage from the Moira Orb and the Dynamite. It's gonna be indeed a Transcending. Doesn't look like that one trade is enough to keep the defense going. With the Transcendence, indeed, the payload will move forward. Nearly 2 minutes on the clock, and Trash Ascending keeps moving on ahead.
It was a smart trans there too to trans the Bob from N Robinson, because it really just meant that there was no chance of a recontest coming out for levers. But meanwhile, you kind of knew you were going to lose that fight. There were more ults on the side of the attack than the defense. You make them invest some. That's ultimately still a strong play for the defense. That allows you to get more online. You don't use amplification matrix.
Now with an equal trade, indeed is going to be both of these amplification matrices up. Is going to be the one from Golden Boss that comes out first. Sans Overkill picks up 1 kill, but Johnny Jaws picks up 4. And even with that shatter that just gets used late, there was no one to really follow up. The damage had been done.
The DPS output from an amplification matrix with just a standard turret form Bastion is absolutely insane, and that almost in itself merits running that comp more often. You know, it's allowed the defense Ford levers to get back into this ult economy. You know, there is a Bob they're going to have to contend with, Ooga Booga with the amplification matrix, but you've got Coalescence that can counter a lot of that damage. You've got a tank configuration that's going to come out early, and we'll see what we have from it.
It's going to be the question. Application matrix indeed comes on out. So does the Bob. As one player is already down. Luilo gets taken out early, and Robinson can now just keep on pushing forward. The Dynamite pumping out so much damage continuously. The Brutality Field has also already been used. Sans Overkill trying to build up that next blade. Also gets that extra damage done by the Dynamite. Shatter gets a block. Bob comes in from the defense now. It's overtime gonna be burning down soon. Nice fire strike taking out Golden Boss. A lot of healing negated as Bob drops, and so does Ray. It's gonna be Johnny Jaws actually swapping off from the Bastion onto the legs, pulling out the Soldier 76. Res is there for Magical Fishhook, so you're gonna still be having a shield to be playing around. You're gonna be having two. Another Bob comes in, and the Shatter puts everyone on the floor, and that is all of the damage coming on through. Only two players left, the Batiste in the back, the Sigma in the front, no one there to contest, and even in overtime, Trash Ascending will get the full push.
What a play there at the end. I mean, first off, N Robinson is literally farming Bobs like nobody's business. So Bob goes in, everyone looks at Bob, Champ Zona just walks forward and, you know, I guess in PlayStation's case, presses triangle. Yeah, but I mean, it was just phenomenal play, way to secure everything up there, and ultimately, just some strong play coming out from both sides, but ultimately, advantage and a great push there at the end coming out from Trash Ascending.
An amazing push, even if it is in overtime. It is always one of those things where in Rialto, that last point is just very difficult to really try and get through. As we saw as well there, nice use of the choke by the defense. But as we flip the script, it's going to be the levers now on attack, and Johnny Jaws once again kind of teasing this Bastion. So we may be seeing some Pirates of the Caribbean coming on out. Trash Ascending, double shield, Junkrat, McCree. Interesting, very open composition that allows for a lot of defense, I would say. A lot of different strategies.
I agree, and the Zenyatta with the Discord Orb from KMK Mom is going to provide a lot of utility to the likes of N Robinson and Sans Overtell about, you know, just providing that extra bit of DPS. It's going to be possibly the difference maker against Johnny Jaws' Bastion.
Well, General Visor already taken out. A nice early halt here from Magical Fishhook. We're losing out on one shield, which means that Johnny Jaws is just gonna take all of this damage straight to the noggin. And we Trash Ascending, picking up the kills here and holding on to the defense on this very early choke.
See, Junkrat against this comp that the levers are running, it's a double threat in the sense that it breaks shields very quickly, Junkrat does, and then from there, very quickly dispatches a Bastion. So that right there, almost a solo counter, and consequently, you know, that Riptire is going to be built fast and get a ton of value.
Trash Ascending, lead holding very well good on this defense, and it's now going to be difficult for Johnny Jaws indeed to set up on the payload in the first place. Golden Boss drops. Johnny Jaws, though, doesn't care about the setup. Picks up a trade. Sans Overkill is down, and you're now very much in a position where the attacker side has spawn advantage. So these two picks are paramount for breaking through this initial choke. Johnny Jaws having to take a very good angle here to be able to really get something extra done. Duilo trying to get those flank picks on through as the payload moves on forward, Hamel.
I like Luilo taking this flank to try and get value. Bob is almost there. Ooh, that Riptire not getting anything. That's huge. Bob will be the difference maker for this attack, I feel like. It could really break things open.
Bob can even come on through because with that Discord Orb on the Orisa, that is going to be a lot of damage that even Transcendence cannot heal. The levers keep on going ahead, keep on moving forward with a minute extra on the clock, and then Trash Ascending ahead on their attack.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I mean, that was a very just. I'm just still shocked. Johnny Jaws just basically stood on point and walked forward and was able to cap it. And meanwhile, that's allowed them to build up a healthy ult advantage. I mean, I was just beginning to question, the Bastion was getting dove so easily, knocked off a point so easily, but ultimately, providing a ton of value there. And now that tank configuration, that Bob's still online, there's a lot to play with here if you're the attackers.
So a whole bunch on the board here for the levers to keep this going. However, superchargers for Magical Fishhook will be the first thing that drops. Tank mode gonna be used as well as the Bob comes into the side. That's one kill. That's the second. Transcendence keeps everyone for the attacker side alive, and the levers are kind of running away with it at the moment.
There's no other term for it. They're steamrolling. They're being smart with their ults. They're keeping stuff ready in the wings. I mean, Grav Coalescence, you wouldn't think of it as a big DPS heavy sort of ult combo, but in the right circumstances could be absolutely deadly and could be just what they need to kind of keep the snowball going, especially if that Grav is big, which is going to be the, big factor of it all. But inversely, Amplification Matrix with the Shatter, those two combining, oh my gosh, that was a quick pick.
That was a very quick pick here indeed, and Robinson already out, so he's not going to be able to build up that tire for a bit longer. Trash Ascending is looking to get a good hold, but you've got Johnny Jaws being able to just pump out all the damage along with just the pulls, the pushes, the boops, and just getting everyone in the line of sight of that Gatling gun of Johnny Jaws. Dragon straight across point. The tire is there as well. Dragon finds Johnny Jaws, and Robinson finds 3 more. That'll be the defense holding for now. General Weiser is the only one available on point. So that will be the defense for now. At the very least holding, but it's still 4 minutes to go, Howell.
That was fantastic. I mean, in Robinson, clutch play on the tire. It's kind of just stalling the inevitable at this point, though, because if you look at the ults that are coming online, for the levers, excuse me, the names are getting me. But if you look at the ults that are coming online, I mean, you're going to get a ton of value in this close confined space, and it's going to be really hard to defend against that, especially when you're looking at, very low ults on the side of Trash Ascending.
I mean, they needed to use everything to even have a chance to hold on to this point in the first place, as JC is just putting a fair bit of damage out as well on the Mora, taking care of that Junkrat trap. Make sure that that also do not be any sort of detrimental. Bob comes in here from Nuilo. Johnny is just going on forward, pulls out the tank mode. You're gonna have to break through the shields to be able to do the damage. But he just rolls on in, drives on through. And that is the levers just pushing I apologize. Pushing the joystick forward naturally, as this is a console. The Dragon will pick up 3, but that is too little, too late. And the levers will have a massive time bank for their own.
That was a very nice catch there. Not pressing W. It's that joystick. You got to move it forward. But
it's autopilot mode, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But Johnny Jaws, nice use of the Bastion ult there at the very end. Not really using it to get kills, but rather to deplete those shield resources coming out for the defense. And that allows the rest of the picks to kind of subsequently roll in. Defense has to adjust their position, start using natural cover, and really just gets the ball rolling to push through into that final stint. And now you're sitting there with a really nice time bank advantage. If this was a different map type, we'd be looking at a draw or win scenario coming out for levers at the moment. However, Escort, you do gain the minute, but still only a minute. Both teams, did really well to take this first point, but as we all know, it is very easy to full hold there. And when you've got that pressure of just a minute, it becomes even more difficult. General Weiser's been getting a ton of value. I like Ray on the Roadhog. It's a little bit unorthodox, but it's working. I mean, everything about this comp is unorthodox, and I'm definitely becoming a fan.
It's been really working well for the levers. They've been finding a whole lot of value for it, at the very least in this round, and trying to bring this back after that initial Nepal round. This way, if the levers keep this up, they are going to be running away with it. It's going to be the question whether they'll manage. Trash Ascending taking a page from the book of the enemy team. Also
Can't believe
pulling
it.
out the Bastion as well. Sans Overtail is setting up on the bridge. But at the very least putting out a similar amount of pressure. And then Robinson is once again going to get that headshot onto Luilo, the Ash on the enemy team. Immortality Field, however, for Ooga Booga has already gotten taken out. And well, this is going to be one hell of a final fight here that could last for a long time.
It really could. And I mean, I'm from North Carolina. I've heard of dueling banjos, but now we're seeing dueling bastions. And this is just a slugfest of gunfire going back and forth. It's really anyone's game. It's whichever bastion can get the first pick and really break this open.
Golden Balls got taken out, however, JC has not. It's gonna be just the flank here that comes on through, and Robinson picks up Johnny Jaws. Gonna be a tank mode as well. And Trash Descending is not done just yet. General Weiser gets taken out as Luilo has also swapped over to the Widow and is looking for those final few picks. It's gonna be a difficult one, Ammo.
Yeah, I like the Widow pick too, just because you know, you can take advantage of the chaos to get some crazy flanks. It might be not necessarily what's exactly needed. You know, you need to get the, you know, overtime. You need to get everyone knocked off the point, and that's going to be a little bit harder with that style of attack, I guess you could say.
Indeed, overtime is now burning down, or at the very least, overtime is now counting down. We've got a bit of a setup for the defense of the Levers here with the Bastion on the low ground. The sides come out from the Widowmaker, but it's now up to the Levers to push Trash Ascending off the point. At the very least, the Shatter lands, does a lot of damage with the whole hog as well, just pushing everyone off. Supercharger is on point, but the Supercharger cannot contest. So that will be Trash Ascending halted with a 4th point and 37 meters.
Absolutely huge Shatter really set up that final takedown there coming out. And now, I mean, a nice win condition set. You got 349 in the time bank. You've already demonstrated how proficiently you can move through point A. This is really looking firmly in the hands of Levers. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable saying at this point, just based on their previous performance, I mean, I've been scratching my head over the Bastion all game, but it continues to find value. It continues to work, and you know, at the end of the day, I mean, you've got the other team switching over to a Bastion too. So I mean, you're obviously doing something right. You are changing the way the enemy team wants to play the game, and when you do that, then you're already in their head. And you're already. It's like it goes back to the Rhine games things we were talking about. It's huge, and I think that kind of tells you a lot. But you know, that being said, defensively, in Robinson on that Junkrat, again, a ton of value, can shut down the Bastion. Luilo with the Widow, though, that's going to be your difference maker. That's the bit of a mismatch. There's no one really on the side of Trash Ascending to contest that. So if Luilo can get the value early, that's just going to make this fight that much easier on the side of Levers.
Trash Ascending now for the defense, double shield. Sans Overtail also on the Bastion. So more Bastion coming out for both of these teams. But also having N Robinson on the Junkrat. So a lot of damage potential coming out from the defense. Gonna be difficult for the Levers to really keep them pushing forward. You're gonna need some great shield management to be able to keep your team safe and give them the space that they need to pick up all of the kills as well. But it's looking like General Weiser with that early fire strike takes that magical fishhook. Johnny Jaws indeed pumping out that damage from back, but we've got to trade JC. So a lot of healing now denied for the offense. It's not going to be an easy one to keep on going for now.
Absolutely, and if you'll look, Sans Overtail getting really close to that tank configuration. That's going to provide a lot of defensive prowess here, and they've got it online now. And really no other ults besides the Coalescence to speak of on the side of Levers, and that's fortunately they've got a big time bank. They've got some time to make it up at this point. They need to start drawing out some ults so they can kind of get back on the right side of this ult economy.
And we've got Bastion from the Levers is trying to go for the bit of a flank. The Levers are starting to swap things up. The Willow is going to swap to the Ash. Amplification Matrix comes on through. The defense from Trash Ascending is still holding on. The Levers are just trying to find the positioning that they need to take a good fight.
And that's I mean, I respect Golden Boss trying to hit the flank to try and take off Sans Overtrail on that Bastion, but right now the Bastion's just too far entrenched from Sans Overtrail. The ult economy, it is coming back on the side of Levers at this point, though, so they have a chance. They've got Immortality Field out early here. I mean, this is probably the fight you want to take right now if you're the Levers, as far as their ults and getting those cooldowns out early.
Rhea swapped over to the Roadhog, trying to get that same value as been getting before. Already hooks out the Reinhardt from Jamasoda. There's gonna be a tank mode coming in from the Levers, but then Robinson has a tire at the ready, looking for those picks going over the roofs. That will be General Weiser getting taken out. So you lose your main tank. We're already down to 1.5 minutes, and the Levers still have a fair bit of map to go.
They really do, and Trash Ascending has just they finally figured out their defense here on Rialto, and it couldn't have came at a more clutch time because you've dwindled a big old time bank down to under a minute, basically in the same situation that they were just in. But ooh, Luillo's got the flank. This could be awesome.
Well, that Sans Overtail already taken out, but takes a fair chunk of damage as well. Levers now with both the Transcendence and the Coalescence. That's a lot of support ultimate coming on out. The Shatter as well. It's a fair bit of investment as the time bank starts coming down. The Jamasoda also with the very late Shatter. That is one that you're not going to be getting back anytime soon.
Yeah, and Jamasoda wants that one back because that could have easily been used here once overtime starts to really kind of break open the fight and end this. But a little too aggressive, got blood in the eyes over the Bastion and pays for it.
Speaking of aggressive, Luillo was just a bit out of position. As Overtail picks up the kill, uses the tank mode to pump out some extra damage here. It's gonna be an attempt against this Roadhog, but the Roadhog is so very tanky, and Robinson comes in. JC is down, so is Golden Boss. No healers left for the offense. It's 10 seconds remaining. Whole Hog comes on through from Ray, but it's gonna get taken out as well. Bob is now on point, but there's so much damage coming out from the Bastion that even the tire will now be coming in. Luillo does not make it to point. Overtime bursts down, and somehow Trash Ascending get the full hold and their second point in this series.
That was a fantastic full hold. I mean, even with the Earth Shatter being sacrificed prematurely, I mean, just a great hold. I think the supports of Ooga Booga and Cam K Mom did a much better job pocketing Sans Overtail on the Bastion just throughout that fight, and I think that really was ultimately the difference maker. Was just a little bit better support cohesion, which led Sans Overtail win the Bastion battle and ultimately win the map.
I would very much agree. And with that, indeed, we are at a 2-0 score. That means that the next match is at the very least match point for Trash Ascending. However, before we get to that, we are going to take a short break to make sure that everyone can grab their drinks, can grab their snacks, and can get ready for the next map that we will be seeing. So for that, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hello, and once again, welcome back to Season 5 of Edo Hell's GitGud Tournament, where we'll be watching the PlayStation 4 bracket here between Levers and Trash Ascending, where Trash Ascending is up 2-0, which means that King's Road, the next map that we will be seeing, is match point for Trash Ascending. If they manage to clear this one out, there will be a clear 3-0 victory in this first to 3. I will still be your play-by-play-caster. Belly with me is still the wonderful color caster Hamwell to join me on this British rainy map. As for me, daylight is starting to pour through here from the EU mainland.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I hurt just hearing it.
It's fine.
It's only 11:15 for me here in the stateside, but I still I feel for my EU compatriots. But
I feel like it's a very nice thing to do back, because so many times I've had to cast with like NA casters for EU time, so it's like it's time that I do it the other way around, you know?
it kills me. I'm always at work during the EU cast, and it makes me so mad because I would love to cast some EU action, but all I can do is this late night NA action, and we have a good one here on Kings Row. I mean, I really think this match plays well into the strengths of Trash Ascending. their brawly style. Jamasoda has been getting a ton of value on the Reinhardt. I think Magical Fishhook has a very good Zarya that plays well with Jamasoda. So I mean, this does benefit uh, Trash Ascending. Going into their match point, I really think this map plays to their strengths, and I'm just going to be interested to see uh, which team rises to the occasion.
Well, I mean, at the moment, at the very least, what we are seeing is that Johnny Jaws really enjoys this Bastion play.
Very much
Um,
so.
They've been getting a lot of value for it. However, they've not been getting the map wins for it. So at a certain point, you're gonna have to start asking whether this is still working. And while King's Row is very much a map where you can be doing very well on, very good on with the Bastion because of all those close range things or those tight spaces, not sure whether this is still the right play anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and we know what Sans Overtail likes to play. That Genji, I mean, that does play right into their hands, I'd say. And so, it's one of those things where it's given Trash Ascending a lot of trouble. But as you said, Trash Ascending keeps coming out on top of it. So the question has to be made. Ooh, Sans Overtail getting one and does go down. But wow, I thought the Genji could live. Ultimately, not the case.
No, even with that 2-second deflect, that's a lot of damage coming on through. And a nice now defensive setup here with the double shield coming on in. The Bastion being able to combat a whole lot of damage, but we do indeed have some damage from on high from the Genji from Sans Overtail. Just forcing Johnny Jaws to take a bit of a different position, trying to get to a safer spot. A lot of damage coming on through here, but eventually Trash Ascending will make it to that initial choke.
And that's how you beat a Bastion. You've got to keep them having to constantly change their configuration. You have to keep them moving and not in their turret form, and ultimately you can get the upper hand that way.
Johnny Jaws with one more pick here, and this time on the Junkrat. And as Trash Ascending is just trying to find a way to get through this choke, they're just losing a member here and there. This is making this attack extremely difficult.
It's hard to get a full reset when you're just kind of getting dinked on and dunked on a little bit. A pick here, a pick there, and all the time, the time bank just continues to whittle away down to about 2.5 minutes now. Still a lot of time to, get things done, but wow, you've taken a nice chunk out of it basically for nothing. Only a few ultimates online, the Shatter and the tank configuration, maybe a Nano thrown in there to boot. It could all maybe play a factor.
Well, what's definitely going to play a factor is that deflect on the Fire Strike. 2 quick picks are going to be followed up by the Blade. So managed to find an extra kill for that, but the damage has been done. The defense is going to just dwindle down, and the Levers are going to have to give up point A to Trash Ascending.
Man, they came through like a wild animal there. Just burst through. I mean, a great flank. That Fire Strike coming through the amplification matrix from Jamsoda. I mean, you did so much with so little, and now you've got a nice Riptire online. You got a Earth Shatter. Meanwhile, on the defense, I mean, it's not so grim. I mean, you do have the Nano still online. You've got tank configuration, Graviton Flux just becoming available. I mean, but dang, that's not going to be the start you wanted.
Ray indeed getting taken out. This is going to be a turret as well coming on through the sky, but Johnny Jaws managed to pick that one off. However, you have lost one of your players, and the defense has set up once again. They've got a lot of ultimates at the ready, and Ray is going to be coming up to that tire as well for the defense. Trash Ascending is going to be popping that supercharger early. Gonna try to just get the attack going with that. Tank mode comes on out, but the Shatter puts everyone on the floor. Even the Nanoed Sigma is gonna take too much damage. Just gonna be forced back to more kills. JC also out. Once again, a big chunk of healing gone. Golden Boss does have all of that extra armor from the kinetic grasp, but that's gonna get taken out rather quickly. And now as Johnny Jaws is just trying to get that damage done by being set up, and Robinson is right at the ready to give that damage right on back. Res comes on through, Jamasoda is back, double shield is set up, payload moves forward, 4 meters to go, 3 minutes on the clock. And Robinson has just built up the tower, is going to be using that immediately, picks up General Weiser, and with no shield at the ready, there's nothing for your Bastion to hide behind.
Such explosive attack coming out from Trash Ascending right now. I mean, it's like there's nothing in the kill feed, and then boom, half half the team or more is down. And I mean, it behooves the Genji Junkrat comp they're running. You know, you've got that Genji, that Dragon Blade online. I mean, there's so many ways you compare that. We've seen Sans Overtail get so creative with it. You know, the Earth Shatter could be a viable starting point. But you know, Johnny Jaws with the tank configuration could shut it down. We have seen Overtail get, you know, in the same token, get shut down.
Oh, and Robinson gets taken out. Rez is there, and he will just kind of bring that one on back as Ray drops here. Immortality Field comes on out. Shatter lands, but doesn't find anyone. If a tank mode does. Sans Overtail is down, so you're not going to be able to put that Genji Blade in for this fight. Rez is also not going to be available. So Cam came up, is not going to be able to pull that one back, though Jama Soda is not done yet. Even with 5 people left, it's going to be a supercharger invested. The tire, however, is there, only finds the supercharger. So if you're going to be finding any value in favor of Trash Ascending, that is what you would want to see.
Wow, that's a nice, in Robinson, and now this is a nice little opening coming up for Trash Ascending here, and now they've got the ults, they've got the play to back them up. They've got levers on the ropes now.
AC dropped off the map is going to be a Nano Bastion, though I'm pretty sure that Shatter dropped the Bastion to the floor, denying a fair bit of that space there. Sans still has the blade, can pull it out anytime they would want to. That is going to be right now. It's going to be 1 kill onto Ray. He's going to be looking for a few more. JC drops as well. There is still an Ana alive. The deflect runs out. Will he be able to get that final pick? No, the melee from Luilo is there. He's going to be able to put out that extra bit of healing to try and keep the Hammond alive. Try and keep that content going. It's 2 minutes on the clock. Trash Ascending trying to clear this out, while the levers are just trying to stagger back in. A few nice headshots here from Ray. Johnny Jaws is gonna be picking up a kill here on Java Soda, and as this is very much defense favored, this will be Trash Ascending being forced back by way of just too much damage.
Wow, and we've got Johnny Jaws on the Reaper off of the Bastion. That's a surprise to be sure, but in the case of the levers, a definite welcome one. Great. I mean, that fight could have gone so much differently if Luilo doesn't get the kill onto Sans Overtail. Luilo then able to provide such value with the Ana from a distance, but still pretty well played coming out from Trash Ascending. Big old time bank. Lots of ults are going to lead off with this tire that does get taken down, but you've almost farmed back a supercharger, which you used at the beginning of that last fight. So, I mean, good stuff coming out from the attack.
Was a very forward tire that indeed just gets spotted out and taken out immediately. As Johnny Jaws indeed on the Reaper is going to just teleport to the high ground. The Hammond indeed coming in as well. A lot of damage from the Dynamite. The mines in the backline going to be cleared out by the shield. However, now you don't really have any shield anymore. Supercharger and Immortality Field for Trash Ascending also both taken out. And as the Nano comes in, and a massive anti-nade from both of, at the very least, the tanks. He's gonna force the red team back ever so slightly with 2 more picks for Ray. That would be the levers holding onto the point for now. 40 seconds to go. Trash Ascending basically just one more fight that they can hold out for.
It's interesting to point out that Ray's been playing off tank all day, you know, playing a good bit of the Roadhog, but really getting a ton of value on the Ashe right now. I mean, farming Bob at a pretty consistent rate. You've got Shatter online, you know, you've got a lot of ults that would allow for a defensive hold. Johnny Jaws getting that Death Blossom online, that could be the fight ender. It all just depends on if he can stay alive through the Earth Shatter and other ults.
If they manage to stay alive through this blade, though the blade runs out. Ray, though, does get taken out. A lot of damage on the Hammond as well. Sans just trying to pick up those final few kills. Coalescence comes on through from the Mora. That will take out Sans Overtail, but once again, a massive shatter. Everyone on the floor. No real follow-up. The return shatter comes in, and as a Death Blossom in the back picks up 2. Sans Overtail is trying to bring this back, but it doesn't look like the attack will be able to. This will be the levers holding on to the point. Overtime Wake burning down, and this will not be a full push for Trash Ascending.
That was an excellent hold by levers. I mean, really weathering the storm. Great switch by Johnny Jaws over to the Reaper. Ray getting a ton of value on the Ashe. Support's looking very strong, and definitely a glimmer of hope now, as, you know, not losing 3 points there, you know, having your win condition set. I mean, that's super important, and there's signs of life in this levers team, and we might be looking at not so much of a sweep, which would be very interesting to see.
it potentially indeed would just there is potential for the reverse sweep, and if there's any point to bring it back, it can only be this, as if you don't, you lose. So
Yeah,
it's very
it's against the
simple.
wall.
There's no real rocket science behind this. You gotta bring it back. This is the only chance you still have. Trash Ascending now on their defense, and we have seen how good they are at their own defense, and I would kind of put that also in the hands of Johnny Jaws, who's once again teasing that Bastion, who, while very good on the Bastion, just to get a consistent push going, it is so extremely difficult.
It really is. I mean, you're working against yourself because, Bastion likes to be set up and entrenched when the team comes onto him, and that's the very opposite of what you're doing here on Attack of these hybrid maps. I think you got to watch out for Sans Overtail and In Robinson on their respective DPS roles, playing the Mei and the Echo, because the Mei, obviously a lot of value here on King's Row. We've seen it already so far today, so it'll just be interesting to see how that pans out. Sorry.
A new hero we're seeing is the Diva coming in out, and Ray with a quick headshot here onto Magical Fishhook. Battlefield is down, but that will get taken out as well by Johnny Jaws. But with that one tank already gone, this is the go side for the offense to keep on going. A nice freeze, however, onto Golden Boss, denying that space there. Maybe the Orisa will be able to get back. Not if General Weiser, however, is in their backline. Two more players are gone. Johnny Jaws manages to pick up that third, and Robinson is trying to stay alive, trying to just get out, maybe with that wall. He's actually trying to just get the recontest. Going to be attempting to get the stagger picks. One tick given up, that's going to be a second, and that will soon be a third. And the offense from Levers are looking strong on this early fight.
Yeah, that was a super fast take, and I mean, that's going to be a big old time bank that they're looking at. Meanwhile, they do have the Nano online. So far, the lowest ult on their team is General Riser with the Reinhardt. He did get taken out pretty early. That Nano could be a good opportunity to go ahead and start farming that Earth Shatter up. Use that early in the fight to get value, but you got to watch out for In Robinson on the defense with that freeze. Ooh, that's a big pick from Ray, though, onto Sans Overtail.
Once again, Ray coming out clutch here on the Widowmaker and putting that opening in this fight, especially Sans Overtail, who had the duplicate ready. This is a lot of damage coming out from Johnny Jaws, and Jamasoda was not in the Immortality field. However, the Blizzard comes in. Johnny Jaws gets taken out. Will there be any more follow-up? That is the question, because you've already lost a few players. So even with Johnny Jaws out of the fight, this is still a difficult one to get. Ray finds another onto Magical Fishhook. Now pops the side, so we know exactly where everyone is. And with this, indeed, the Levers will be continuing on forward with a lot of ultimates at the ready.
Yeah, and Trash Ascending, they're just having to invest so much in trying to take out Johnny Dolls that it's leaving so much open for Ray. And the ults, I mean, they back it up. They've been pushing this hard, and they've basically got 5 ults online and really only used a Widow ult. That's huge.
Well, the Sans Overtail tries to get that duplicate ready, gets slapped. The bomb, however, does not find anything. Amplification matrix is also up. Shatter gets attempted. There's no shield up, so that one still lands up with the sound barrier. That's going to be a very aggressive push. Golden Boy with 2 more picks. Both of the supports gone. Supercharger gets invested, but there's nothing to help you with the rest of this fight. This is going to be a very aggressive push and a massive 5-minute time bank to try and get this C point.
And this is just a huge difference in ults, too. I mean, Trash Ascending used everything but the Earth Shatter, everything but the kitchen sink, basically, to hold that defense, and it was all for nothing. And meanwhile, you've got Nano, waiting in the wings, ready. You've got tank configuration coming out from Johnny Dawes. I mean, they've got the tools to go ahead and close this map out here, and they've still got 4.5 minutes to go.
At this point, Trash Ascending is gonna have to pull out all the stops to try and bring this one on back. Tank mode comes in. It's gonna be an attempt to try and get the Widow off of the high ground. Diva's right at the ready as well to just deny and Robinson that space to take the fight with Ray for free. So Ray's got all of the opportunity to take any sort of Widow fight going on here. As I say that, and Robinson is gonna get taken down. Mentality field as well. Now I've got the Bastion from Sans Overtail coming on in. Golden Boss is gonna get taken out of the mech. As the payload has stalled out now, is going to be another shatter. This one does land onto General Weiser. Coalescence comes on through as well. Johnny Jaws, however, right ready to take out Magical Fishing, but with that Coalescence, it's looking like Levers will be forced to come back. Ray, though, with a late pick onto N. Robertson, had the sights up and will be just picking up that kill eventually.
And that was absolutely clutch for Trash Ascending. I mean, they have so much. Obviously, you have to stop them there, you lose the map. But getting that hold there, it's so much easier to whittle this time bank now in this third sin. It's one of the hardest maps I think to push in through here as far as hybrid maps go. But in Robinson, I mean, the Diva's making such a huge difference. That's the first we're really seeing in Robinson get a pick kind of uncontested, because Golden Boss on that Diva is really just making life terrible for Robinson and allowing Ray to kind of do whatever they want.
It's a very good playstyle here to enable your Widowmaker. Levers once again with a fair bit of tools at the ready. Robinson and Robertson popping those sides, takes out JC. Golden Ball's also dropping a bit low, but there's an Ana ready to heal the mech back up, and Ray comes back in with a headshot onto Ed Robinson. An opening pick and a green light for the Levers to keep on pushing in. 5 ultimates at the ready. We're gonna have the Nano, we're gonna have the Sound Barrier to go aggressive. Shatter comes on out, and Mortality Field is there. The bomb in the back picks up one. Picks up Ooga Booga. Sounds Awful is just trying to bring this back with the tank mode. Does get slapped. General Weiser with a lot of damage and the Nano, and as Trash Ascending is just trying to scramble together to get something done, the payload just keeps on moving forward. There's a contest by Mora, but apart from that, and Robinson actually drops into the hole. Well, Lassie ain't gonna find that one down the well, as Johnny Jaws picks up the last few picks here. That will be the Levers full pushing Kings Row and picking up 1 point, not getting shut out entirely.
Oh my gosh, that just I don't mean to laugh at In Robinson's expense. We've all been there. You expect the hook shot from Widow to allow you to kind of perch up on that ledge, and instead it just kind of propels you down into the abyss. Oh, great camera work from our producers there, because we got a really funny angle of that. And Robinson will have to laugh about that later. I mean, honestly, it was pretty funny, but a great way to stay in this match coming out from the Levers. I mean, they they ran a lot of players on completely different roles than what we've seen so far this series, and
Yeah.
they looked super strong with it, almost begging the question, like, what were you guys doing for the first two maps? Like, why weren't you guys running that to begin with? And just really overall, like a bit of a reversal of fortune. I mean, Johnny Jaws looks more comfortable on the Bastion now with this new change. Ray, Golden Boss with the Diva. I mean, I barely mentioned it, but that was a huge difference in why Ray was getting so much more value with the Widow than in Robinson was just the fact that the Diva was there to do a lot of the sort of groundwork for the Widow, and then Widow just comes in with all the hard work Divas did and cleans it up, which is exactly what you're looking for. So just all in all, a you know to be down 2-0 and then display that level of prowess in the style, switching up your roles. I mean, it's very impressive from the Levers. Like, all credit in the world to him. It was fantastic.
I mean, it is the task of the tanks to do, to create space for your DPS to
Mhm.
get the picks, and that was amazing play from Golden Boss indeed to create the space
So
for Ray
true.
to pop off, as you mentioned, and that is how you get your victories. So it does indeed mean that the Levers have got a chance to bring this one back. Trash Ascending still on match point, still at an opportunity to finish this one out. And it's going to be, once again, a static objective. It's going to be an assault map next. Still waiting out what the teams are going to be picking. I've not indeed seen anything. Oh, actually, hold on. I am incorrect. Volskaya is going to be the next map. So we're going to be going to the Wintry Russia once again. Though Trash Ascending is looking to close this one out quickly, they want to be defending first.
And I honestly like that because it sets your win condition. If you defend first, you have the opportunity, and especially Trash Sending, they've you know Kings Row aside, they've looked really strong, and they didn't look terrible on Kings Row on their defense, but their defenses looked really strong, specifically on Rialto. And I mean, that sets up your, as I said, that sets up your win condition. Now you know if you full hold, you know exactly what you need to win. And I think it's a smart move when you're in the lead. It's definitely a way to sort of push the limits of what you're trying to do as far as your comps and your lineups. It allows you to try some stuff. And yeah, I just think it's a good position for them to be in. Volskaya really benefits, like a good Rhine player can benefit on Volskaya. They've definitely got that in Jamasota. So I mean, it's a map that we could see this series, closed up on. However, we said the exact same thing about Kings Row and Levers. I mean, they pulled something crazy out and took the map. So I mean, who knows? Maybe are we going to see Ray go over to support now? We've seen him on tank, we've seen him on DPS. Maybe we're going to pull Ray onto support now. I think that's the play.
I mean, while we're playing musical chairs on the roles, might as well start
Yeah.
doing stuff like that. And then at that point, Trash Ascending just start flipping roles as well. But that indeed being said, we've got Volskaya as the next map and Trash Ascending for the defense, which means that the levers are going to be looking into probably putting the Bastion out to play again, though now on a Volskaya attack, that
hmm
is not going to be the easiest point to get a Bastion attack going.
That's going to be some stuff that you see in ladder. I have to feel like Johnny Jaws is gonna pull out the Reaper. I mean, or the Soldier. We did see briefly Soldier come out from Johnny. So I mean, it is entirely possible, but I don't know. I just have this sinking sort of suspicion in my gut. We're gonna see an attack Bastion on Volskaya coming out from Johnny Jaws. I don't know. Uh, maybe I'm wrong, but I think I think that we got a good chance of that. And hey, if any team could make it work, Levers and Johnny Jaws sure as hell can. Whoops.
Maybe it's the fact that so far we've seen Bastion come out every single map
Yeah, maybe
from the
that has
levers.
something to do with it.
That could potentially be a bit of a hint as to what to expect for the next map. So yeah, I would indeed also kind of expect that attack Bastion coming through. I would honestly be surprised if it didn't come out because we've seen it just
Yes,
come out on
that would be,
essentially every point where you're like, would Bastion be a good choice here?
that would be the bigger
Levers don't
surprise.
care; they just put Bastion in, and I have to respect them for sticking to their guns like that.
They are certainly sticking to their guns, and I can just hear Trash Ascending's team, discussion right now. So guys, you think they're gonna run a Bastion again? You could just it's like, all right, they're gonna run a Bastion. What are we gonna do? I mean, it does kind of, it presents that opportunity where teams have a little bit more chance to prepare when you know kind of what's coming. When you've got a player, like a Johnny Jaws, like you look at Clockwork Vendetta in the contender scene a while back. You got a player like Engineer, like they're gonna play Torbjorn. It's like, do you have more time to prepare, or does that start playing into the whole mind game of it all, where now you're overthinking it because you know it's coming and stuff like that? I mean, there's a whole, I mean, there's books of sports psychology related to that, and we probably won't ever have an answer. But what we do have is a great series on our hands as we head into Volskaya. And so I want to ask you, what player on the side of Levers, you know what Johnny Jaws is going to be picking. Who do you think kind of has to be the next sort of pop off factor for them to go ahead and tie the series up?
I mean, Ray's been doing very well on that, to say the least.
hmm
Luilo as well, and when they were playing DPS at the very least, very solid Hanzo. So either of those, depending on who's on which role seed for the levers for this next game, that's going to be the question. What is actually going to be who is going to be the pop off player here? And it's going to be Ray once again on the DPS.
I honestly like that too. I think the Ash and the Widow play was very sound from Ray there on King's Row. I think, as I've said before, I think there's a lot of aspects to Volskaya and King's Row that sort of favor each other. So, that was really the first glimmer of success we saw coming out from Levers was Ray, on the DPS role, on the Ash, on the Widow. And so I'm like, you know what, stick with it. Luillo's provided, certainly some quality work on the Ana so far. I mean, General Weiser's doing their thing on Reinhardt. Meanwhile, for the defense, you've got Sans Overtell playing the defense Bastion. So we've got Bastion v Bastion. In Robinson, going to be looking to get some value with that Sombra. I definitely think that could be a difference maker, especially with shields being so important. With just the one shield coming out from General Riser, if you can break that, if you can hack that, you're opening up a lot of doors there. So it'll be interesting to see how this is utilized.
There is indeed that. There's also the fact that Golden Boss is indeed also on the Diva, so a very good target to hack and build up that EMP.
Absolutely.
But Robinson isn't looking for that. Is going to be looking for a quick pick onto Ray as these two teams just kind of battle it out on the high ground. A nice sleep here from a very patient Luillo. This is going to take the Bastion on the floor. A speedy Lucio is going to try to just get in. Does not manage to get any boop off or displace the team of Trash Ascending. There's going to be just a few players zoned off from the rest. And this is going to be a pretty aggressive defense coming on through. Immortality Field from Cam K-Mom also comes down but gets taken out. The charge does not land, but the kills come on through for the levers. And the rotation just is unfortunately not good enough here. All of the kills here in favor for the attacking side. Trash Ascending starting to fall apart a bit.
They really are. It's like the cracks are beginning to show. The Bastion has just, like a sledgehammer, just worn away at the morale and the spirit of Trash Ascending. And now the Levers, I mean, they look firmly in control of their own destiny. 5.5 minutes on the time bank, a compelling point A take. I mean, you know, you saw JC getting really aggressive on the Lucio. You know, I've seen 6K Lucio boops on Volskaya. It can happen. So that aggressive play can be rewarded. It's and honestly, it seems to be working. Not a lot of picks coming through for Trash Ascending. Jam Soda, surprisingly, on the Roadhog right now. Again, that's you know, a bit of a head scratcher to me, switching off onto that. But if you can, you know, get those picks on the open target, it definitely does have some value. Ooh, that's a dragon coming through the middle, though.
Indeed, Immortality Field already used as well. Johnny Jaws has picked up their mirror signs. Orbital is down. Shatter comes as well. And this is just a general Wiser just holding the attack button and just moving on forward. 4.5 minutes on the clock. 2 ticks already given up. Sans Orbital back on the Echo. It's not going to be alive for that long as the full push is there and the levers with a 4.5 minute time back.
This is ridiculous. I mean, this match has made a completely 180 in momentum, and it's like, did these two teams switch names? Because that's the level of difference we're seeing. Both teams running Bastion now. It's one could almost call it madness, but it seems to be that madness is the name of Lever's games because they're you know, they're profiting massively from this sort of change of fortune.
It is indeed with a little switch up that they've done. It seems to be that it's really been working out for the Levers, and Trash Ascending is going to have to find their footing back again because they look strong. Maybe they got a bit complacent. They're gonna have to get back into their solid footing that they had before if they want to have a chance to clear this one out. Remember, this is a match point. Trash Ascending managed to win this map, then they win this series.
This is true. This is true. They're. I definitely think that Trash Ascending is kind of seeing stars at the moment. They've kind of gotten concussed, knocked around a little, whatever you want to call it. But they need to shake it off and they need to wake up because they are not looking like the same team that started the series. And this is just playing all into the hands of Johnny Jaws, Ray, and the rest of the Lever squad. Interesting to note, Golden Boss onto the Roadhog now. Haven't seen that. Been mainly Diva from them. Ray over and onto that Hanzo. Very interesting comp coming out. A lot of DPS ability, but a little less on the tanky side, which could come to bite them with Sans Overtell on that Bastion.
Sans Orbital on the Bastion. You also have the Symmetra for the teleport opportunity, and the teleport does come on through. They go straight to the point, try to set up there. Delta Field is down, will get burned down pretty damn quickly. And as the hook comes in onto Sans Orbital, there's not one tick given up. A nice fire strike as well to clear this out, and the Levers will hold on to the point. As the
and I was muted. Apologies, but I was just remarking at how much, you know, mobility and so much maneuvering we're seeing from both of these teams here on this point A. You know, when we've got, you know, stationary Bastions in play until just now, Sans Overtell going over to the Genji, but you've got these stationary heroes in play, and we're just seeing all this movement, all this maneuvering, and I'm like, this is crazy.
That is the relocation, that is the rotations that you do need to be able to do as the teleport comes in on high ground. The Hanzo from Ray still behind the attacking team. The Bastion, however, from Johnny Jaws on the high ground, being able to once again take that immortality field out early. That's very much going to put Trash Ascending on a very much unfavorable fight. The anti-nade comes in as well. And the Lever's just running away with it at the moment. Dragon comes in a bit late. Sounds overtime, sounds over tail. With barely any health left, is just trying to get out with their life. Seem to be able to.
Now, granted, you do have 5 ultimates online still if you're the side of the Levers, so, you know, 1 ultimate loss isn't much to really be upset about, but I'm not sure why Ray used that Dragon Strike there at the end of that fight. Fight was already won, the regroup was already occurring. I mean, maybe to secure some last, you know, final kills, that's indeed a possibility, but good grief, 5 ultimates on the side of the defense. It's going to be really hard to lose this fight. And right now, if I was Trash Ascending, if I had any sort of information, any sort of ult tracking knowledge of that, I'd really be trying to use this as a dry fight, if possible. I mean, the time bank is getting low. Use this as a dry fight. Get some of those ults out so you get back into the advantage here on your ultimates.
Indeed, as Trash Ascending is once again trying to get those side angles. Also, a lot of ultimates available here for the attack, which all just get used. It's gonna be a denial of the whole hog and denial of N. Robinson by way of bow and arrow. As Johnny Jaws is set up next to their co-DPS. 50 seconds left, and Trash Ascending not really finding the value that they're looking for.
They're really not, and they're using ultimates. They're having to make switches. Still, you know, 2 ultimates online. You've got the Tank Confederation and Nano for the side of Levers. That's a great way to make a defensive stand. You're going to have Dragons here to close out the fight. I mean, this is really shifting out of Trash Ascending's favor very quickly. One could even say the entire match is kind of spiraling for them at the moment. They really need to try and make something happen here. They're in dangerous risk of being full held.
Well, the Levers indeed with a very good positioning. And now Sans Overkill just trying to dodge this Bastion. Gonna manage with 5 HP, but eventually that's just gonna get taken out. Overtime is gonna start taking down. No one's there to touch the point! The Levers will pick up their second map, and I mean the reverse sweep is real.
I would be believing it right now. Yeah. If I was a bet man, I would be betting on the reverse sweep, because this is it's a different team with Ray on DPS, with Lulo on support. I mean, Golden Boss playing the Diva, playing the Roadhog. I mean, we're just seeing it's like I can't stress it enough. It's an entirely different team we're seeing here, and it's got Trash Ascending completely reeling. I can almost equate it to bringing in a relief pitcher in baseball, where you get the batters, you get them all kind of accustomed to this one style of pitching, and then you completely change it up on them. You may, sub in a left-handed person for a right-handed person, vice versa, and it throws the batters for a loop. And that's kind of what I feel like we're seeing here. That's the only way I can kind of seem to put it together, because it's pretty insane, the turnaround that Levers have brought out here.
Well, I don't know that much about sports, so I'm going to fully believe you on that one.
You can just take my word for it. It's fine. I know baseball. Not really. I know that one reference.
I don't even know that one, so you know more than me at the very least. This is also why you're probably the color caster.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
Exactly. But with that being said, we have a 2-2 score, a to-the-wire game. However, we're not going to be moving into the next map just yet. Before we do that, we're going to take a short break to just recollect ourselves, take a bit of a breather. So for everyone else as well, make sure to grab your final snack, grab your final drink, as we will be heading into the final map just in a moment. But before we do that, a short break. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hello, and once again, welcome back to Season 5 of EdoHell's GitGud Tournament, where we are watching the PlayStation 4 series at the moment. Trash Ascending versus Levers, and we are going all the way. This is a 5-mapper. We're at a 2v2 score. And this is going to be match point on the last control map, which is going to be Lijiang Tower. I will still be your play-by-play caster. Belly with me is still Hamwell on the color seat. And we've got, no matter what, one more map to go.
Yep, one way or another, this series will be decided. There can be no other way. You can't draw on control maps. We will have a winner, and thank goodness, because this has been a roller coaster, and I'm not sure my poor heart can take it much more. It is, it's been insane. There's been so much Bastion play. This is the most Bastion play I have ever seen in any organized series. I am just bamboozled. So I don't know. I don't know if Johnny Jaws is my favorite player or least favorite player. I can't decide. It's definitely not in the middle. It's one or the other, but it's definitely one of them. And I don't know what to tell you. But I mean, you can't let that overshadow all the other great performances we've seen today. I think Ray switching from off tank over to DPS, that's the difference maker. That's when you see Levers start taking maps. That's when you see it's almost like that's when this Bastion comp started making sense. And I think that's just been a momentum that Trash Ascending have just been struggling to overcome ever since. Jamasoda doing a great job on the Reinhardt, but I mean, a lot of times you just can't beat that Bastion with the shield break. You have to be so perfect with your shield management that it's almost crippling. So I mean, I think we're in for a whirlwind map 5, and shoo, I can't wait.
Trash Ascending going for a fairly brawly composition. Levers, more Bastion. Because I mean, more Bastion. That's just what they do, and it's been working for them the past. It's been working for them the past 2 maps after a rough first 2 maps, and this might be where they bring it back. However, Trash Ascending was the one who won the initial control map. Now with this May wall available as well, it's going to be a bit more difficult to set this Bastion up for a good kill. The charge comes on through, but that's a very long charge. Jamasoda gets taken out, and it's going to be the counter bash onto General Weiser as well. But with these kills coming in through, there will be Levers picking up the point first pretty soon. Actually, I say that Trash Ascending has picked up the point first, but Levers should be bringing it back soon. It's going to be difficult to keep this stacker going.
All things considered, losing your main tank as early as you did in that fight, it's nice to just get a little bit of progress with that 13%. I mean, you can't expect anything more than that. I'm surprised they were able to get that far without a main tank, but ultimately they just established control on point and just kind of played everything out because, the downside with Bastion is you have to, maneuver, and that takes time. You're not always in position to take advantage of things like that. But in the meantime, progress, firmly in the hands of Levers. Ooh, that's a big fire strike. That's just going to slow down Trash Ascending even more. And meanwhile, you've got some big ultimates. Basically, all the ultimates right on the doorstep for Levers. They've already got the Dragon Strike, and I mean, just so much more waiting in the wings. And they're vastly winning that advantage.
Trash Ascending indeed losing members left, right, and center, and even those individual 1v1s are looking quite difficult here. Having to wait for the group up. Jamasoda is going to put out a fire strike. It's going to be a very aggressive grab, but indeed with that dragon, that's a lot of damage coming through. However, not enough to actually pick up a kill. It's going to force out the Coalescence, but with that, Trash Ascending can start pushing it back. Jamasoda has the Shatter ready. However, so does General Weiser. A lot of these shatters have been hitting very, very well. Tank mode comes on out, so you're not going to be able to drop the shield in the first place. It's got a bit of a splish push going on. We've got Sans Overkill trying to get to the backline. Does get anti, doesn't have Wraith Form. Use that one to get in, so you won't have it to get out anymore. Sam Barrett comes in, Shatter goes down, counter Shatter goes down as well. However, with the Nano, that will be the Reinhardt from the Lever staying alive for now. Blizzard in the middle of the point. The Bastion is going to be rotating around. Gravitic Flux comes on out and will be the Reinhardt dying. No bubble for that hero left. But even with that, Lever's still holding on to the point. Overtime starts burning down. It's going to be a matter of trying to just recontest. That's one kill. That will be a second. That will be a very rough fight and a control center going in favor of Levers.
Wow. Wow, just wow. I'm pretty sure that was just 2 fights, maybe 3 to decide that point. Like, just overall, I don't know if it was a question of target focus, but just very long, drawn out fights coming out from Trash Ascending, and that was not benefiting them. They were getting picked slowly, but surely, and constantly. And all of that just lended itself to long losing battles that ultimately cost them the round there. And now, defeat. They were up 2-0 in this series, and if you told me at that point that we'd be looking at a map 5, I would have thought you were crazy. But here we are, and all the momentum is on the side of Levers, and it's really just, Trash Ascending looking for anything to kind of turn the tide here.
Trash Ascending indeed. They look very strong early on, but at this point they kind of look a bit more broken apart. And also putting
Mentally
Sans
defeated
Overtail
already.
It kind of feels like it to a degree. Sans Overtail going for the Bastion as well. Now with the teleporter straight onto the point, it's gonna be Johnny Jaws just immediately deleted from the game. Now there's 3 quick picks. Trash Ascending down but not out.
That was just the first fight they needed here. That's something that, in a situation like this, teams are looking for anything to kind of get their motivation and their momentum back invested in. And that, a prompt win like that, a prompt control of the point, that's a good way to get the spirits going again. And ultimately, they can do something with this from here. Not a lot of ults to work with on the other side. So obviously, the entrenched defending team has the advantage.
Trash Ascending indeed with a very good position to hold on to this point. Johnny Jaws being able to just kind of burst through the shields, especially after also the Bastion buffs that have come on through, along with a whole slew of other buffs. But Sans Overtail is making the most use of it, takes out Golden Boss again. Gonna trade. Cam K-Mom has gotten taken out as well. This might be an opening for the attack to come in, but no, and Robinson picks up Ray as well, as now just one Reinhardt just trying to get into the point with all those Symmetra turrets and the Symmetra herself pumping out all that damage. That is still Trash Ascending, holding onto the point, 40% already on the counter.
And they're winning the ult battle pretty handily right now. They do have both DPS ults online, a Shatter and Amplification Matrix. They are going to have to watch out from that tank configuration from Johnny Jaws. There's a lot of crafty ways you can use it here on Night Market. And the Nano on possibly the Reinhardt of General Weiser. But no, it's going to be on the Bastion.
To be in a Bastion, an attempt at getting that damage done, and Johnny Jaws picks up another kill here. However, takes a rock to the face, and with that damage from N. Robinson coming in as well, this is still an equal trade, but Trash Ascending is putting that in their favor. Golden Boss gets taken out as well, and this is now 75%. We're heading slowly into last fight territory.
And this is definitely the fight where Levers could turn it and get progress going on this point. They've got a, possibility for a Graviton. That is a bit of a ways away, but you do have Ray with that dragon. Ray been a little bit more quiet on this map than on the previous 2, but very interesting flank coming out. This might pay dividends for Levers as they try to make this final fight. Will they even touch? They don't even touch!
They can't touch. The Graphitic Flux denying it. The Lucio does not manage to get back. The kill still all even in the slow motion, going in favor of Trash Ascending. We've got a 1-1 score, and it's all down to Gardens. We move on to Lijiang Gardens. This is where this all gets decided. We are on match point. We're on map point, and it is anyone's game.
Oh my goodness, it really is. And I mean, I'm in shock at the end of that fight. I mean, I thought it was a great flank positioning to try and catch Trash Ascending unawares, and ultimately Magical Fishhook was having none of it. So that's huge. So we will have that Ryan Sigma comp coming back out for Jamasoda and Fishhook. A Ryan Winston, we saw that earlier in Overwatch League today. To not much success, but maybe a little bit different here on Lijiang. I think it was the Gladiators running it, and did not work out very well.
And we do have the Pharah out to play. No Mercy, however, to back it up. So there's going to be the solo Pharah with some backup for the front line. Trash Ascending has set up on the point. However, they already lost Jamasoda. As Levers once again have the Bastion at the ready, even with that Winston in the front line as well. Winston does get taken out here. But Sans Overtail is going to be able to pump out so much damage against this Reinhardt. And with that is going to be indeed a triple kill sound effect for the Bastion of Trash Descending. The blue team picks up the point first.
Trash Ascending just beat Levers at their own game. They're setting up the aggressive Bastion, not really relying on shield. I think it's brave of Ray to be running this Pharah without the Mercy, but I mean, any sort of peek on the Bastion and the amount of bursts you're going to get hit with is going to be very overpowering. So I'm just wondering how much value this is going to get. Of course, that barrage is online, so obviously some value has been gotten already. It's just going to be a question of can this barrage land big before the damage is done to Ray.
Ray indeed looking very eagerly for that opportunity, for the damage to come in. There's also a fair amount of symmetric turrets at the ready,
big.
but Sans just with that amplification matrix just holds down that Gatling gun. There's so much damage coming out, and the Levers just losing 2 members quickly.
Yeah, and Levers have kind of just sat around outside the point, and meanwhile, it's halfway progress going over to Trash Ascending, and Sans Overtail has been completely uncontested on the point. Like, no one's, I'm not even sure anyone's really got even a shot in on him so far on the Bastion since they've set up there. So, I mean, a lot more is going to have to be done if Levers are going to take control here, and this Sound Barrier just might be the thing.
Oh, Sound Barrier, huge barriers to find 3, finds a 4th! And Ray just bringing this one on back with the backup from the rest of the team. It's gonna be a wall to just try and deny that extra push. But even with the teleporter down, nobody's gonna be able to get back to the point, and the Levers now take control of the control point and will be able to set up also with this Bastion.
And that's not a combo you see very often, the Sound Barrier with the Pharah Barrage. But hey, when you don't have a Mercy, that works just as well for getting that Barrage off in a huge quad. But meanwhile, I mean, you've still got great ults to work with if you're Trash Ascending. You're not quite in one fight territory yet at 78%, but you're pretty darn close where you can, you can afford to invest. Maybe not all your ultimates, but you can make a pretty hardy investment here if you so choose, especially with that pick to start it off. Yeah, this is a fight that Trash Ascending can definitely take.
Johnny Jaws already dropping down. Tag mode comes on out. Shatter as well from both sides. Jamasoda picks up JC. That's 2 picks. That's the 3rd. Ray gets a trade, but it does look like the damage has been done. Trash Ascending picks the point back up. 80% on the counter. And Sans Overkill also is not going down.
No, absolutely not. And you've got that amplification matrix. That's a great ult to use defensively here. But there are a lot of ults online. Johnny Jaws and Ray. Everyone's going to have to be pressing their ults here just to get onto point and get some damage because they have to take the point here. Are they even going to touch? Oh my god!
Oh, barely at the final moment. Another used barrage that picks up 2. There's 3, 4, 5 now for the Levers as the kills come in. It's 99% on the counter, but it is still anyone's game.
What a twist of fate. I didn't even think they were going to get a touch, and I think it was Golden Boss on D.Va. Just like at the last possible second lands. And I mean, that was just absolutely insane. And now look at this ult scenario coming in for the Levers. They've got a nice advantage. They've got a Nano online. They've got the tank configuration. Shatter's not far away. Not really much besides the Bob, which, in and of itself can be, dealt with pretty effectively, given the comp that's being ran by Levers. So, I mean, this is really looking in Levers' favor somehow after turning that around inexplicably.
If there's anything that is reverse sweepable, it is this game. Golden Boss, however, does get taken out, so you lose one of your members. It's going to make this fight more difficult. You're on last fight territory. Bob comes in. It's gonna be a nano onto the Bastion from Johnny Jaws. Immortality field down, Bob down, Shatter comes through. That is so much damage coming through from the Bastion. 4 kills for the Omnic. A little bit of a teabag at the end. Some tactical crouching to finish it off. And somehow the Levers get the reverse sweep. They manage to pull this one back from the brink of defeat. And somehow get their victory, and they're not leaving anytime soon.
Oh my gosh. Of course Johnny Jaws on the Bastion would be like the final winning play for Levers. Just, I mean, doing so much there at the end, getting the nice kill to finish off of finishing off the Shatter kills. I mean, just so much done there. Shutting down the Bob, shutting down the Immortality field. I mean, it couldn't have happened any other way. Based on the way this series has been, I mean, Sans Overtel and Johnny Jaws, Bastion's big in PlayStation. That's really all I can take from this. And these two
I
play
mean,
it pretty dang well, and they made it work.
Johnny Jaws is good on the Bastion. That's basically what I
Yes,
take away from this.
that's what I've learned tonight.
Any other teams up against the Levers, take note of this game because, I mean, that is what you're going to be playing against, and it's not going to be an easy matchup, as the
No.
Levers have proven over and over again. It, it's been a mental game, and as we get to indeed see the map screen, it was just a full-on reverse sweep. 2 maps for Trash Ascending. After that, it's been Levers over and over, and it's been a mental game here, Hamwell.
I couldn't agree more. Momentum was everything, and Levers they made some halftime adjustments, let's call them, after map 2, and switching Ray over to DPS. I mean, that's why, as good as Johnny Jaws was, if I had to pick a player of the match, I'd have to give it to Ray, because I mean, it's like this match really started for Levers whenever Ray went over to DPS. They started playing so much better, and they get the reverse sweep because of it. So I mean, for that reason alone, I kind of have to give it over to Ray, just because that was a noticeable switch that instantly paid dividends. But the whole team came together. I mean, like I said, Ray went to DPS, and suddenly Johnny Jaws on the Bastion made sense. And how could you make that possible?
Suddenly it clicked, and suddenly the Levers grabbed their victory. With that, we are done with GitGud, a console at the very least for today. However, that does not mean we are done with GitGud for this weekend. There is still some amazing games to be able to watch. This will be PC games that will come out tomorrow for EU and for NA. To make sure to follow Twitch, follow the socials, check out the Discord. To be able to stay up to date on when all of that is going to go live, because that's even more great Overwatch to get to watch. Naturally, thank you to all the production observing, to the co-caster, and make sure to also, there's plenty of links in the chat, send some love to everyone as well. With that all being said, thank you so very much for joining us for this amazing game. This is us going to be rounding off. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. And we will see you next time. Bye bye.